As Senior Vice President of the Fashion Office and Store Presentation at Bergdorf Goodman, she is the luxury department store's chief trend spotter, ambience master, and gatekeeper of style. What Fargo has on her mind affects millions of dollars in revenue for Bergdorf Goodman, the mythic fashion emporium at the corner of 5th Avenue and 58th Street in New York City. Since 1996, Fargo has overseen the women's fashion office in addition to store presentation, which includes interior design, window displays, and in-store exhibitions. She devised a creative vision and management style that's resulted in worldwide acclaim for the store within the luxury retail market.
现在站在我身旁的这位优雅美丽的女士呢，就是大家在各大时尚杂志看到的时尚女魔头 Linda Fargo。同时呢，她也是世界顶级百货公司 Bergdorf Goodman 的掌门人。下面让我们一起来认识一下 Linda。Hi Linda, how are you?
你好 I'm very, very well, thank you.
I'm so glad to see you today in person. You're so glamorous.
Oh no, you know today I was thinking, you know, we're filming in front of Bergdorf Goodman in front of our windows, which are for our anniversary. And this particular window that you chose to shoot in front of, it celebrates the history of fashion for like the last 111 years, which is what we're celebrating. So it's perfect. It's at the beginning of Fashion Week in New York. So today is actually a very special day because it's the beginning of Fashion Week, and as you know, it's also Fashion's Night Out around the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
And can you tell our global audience a little bit more about why to choose 111th
Yes.
birthday to have such a big celebration?
Of course. I know it's an unusual year, but we also think Bergdorf's is a rather unusual store.
It's true.
Truth be told, you know, we were going to celebrate our 100th, but there was the tragedy of 9/11 10 years ago, so we postponed our plans and we saved our ideas and built on our ideas for another 11 years, and we thought what number would be most significant, and we felt that we are a very unusual store for many reasons. We have a lot of history. Not many stores can say that they have been here for 111 years. There's only one of us.
Yes.
Most stores have many other locations, and we don't.
True.
Not that we haven't ever thought about it, but we don't. So for many reasons, we feel that we're unique, and the number one obviously stands for uniqueness.
Great. And also you're the icon from the fashion industry. Everyone that admires you, what you wear, and you always wear bright colors and amazing accessories. And where the inspiration come from?
Well, inspiration comes from, as probably everybody knows, from many places. I'm just like everybody else. I'm inspired by a beautiful movie. Sometimes it can just simply be the shock of a new color. And sometimes it's from other people. It might even be something you remember your mother wearing at one point, and you remember, like I will always remember how my mother looked when she would put red lipstick on, or how Audrey Hepburn looked. I think for me, I'm probably a little more inspired sometimes by somewhere between some of the most iconic classic women of the world, and also people who are real individualists. People who take a lot of chances and experiment with themselves, and they're not necessarily completely trend driven. They're willing to find their own style.
And I think our audience is typically women that want to know like what kind of fashion style advice you could offer them in this year.
Well, you know, we're starting the fall season. It's all just arriving in the stores now, and some of the big trends that, and I'm personally feeling them too. Last night I went shopping to try to get ready for the new season, and I noticed that I was pulling like a lot of leather. Very, very attracted to leather this season. I was telling you a little bit earlier, I've been wearing a lot of very bright, strong color all summer, and now I'm starting to feel like getting a little darker, a little richer, maybe more romantic. Almost a type of romanticism, like I can almost picture wearing a cape possibly. Just I'm feeling a little bit deeper now, and brocades and velvet and some fur, and I'm kind of can't wait for it to get a little bit cold, honestly.
I can't wait that too.
I know.
I'm
wanting the cold. I want to start wearing boots again.
So can you introduce what are you wearing right now?
This is a little Lanvin dress, and it was actually made for the summer season. It looks kind of like it might be a little bit heavy, but it's actually very light. And I think for all women in fashion, it's a little challenging when the seasons change because you don't know how to transition from the one to the other, and I felt like this dress does that because it starts to look a little like fall, but it's still in summer weight. And I still have a little bit of a sandal on. So if
So
I
that
were
balances.
so I think a lot of times we look for pieces which can live in various seasons and they can live different times of the day. We like versatility.
And also, like there are so many, almost every designer want to come into Bergdorf Goodman. So how do you decide what to buy for
What
the
to
store?
buy.
Yeah.
That's a good question, especially at the beginning of Fashion Week. I already went today to see a couple of new collections.
How was it?
Very, very interesting. We very often we watch them for a few seasons. We don't always buy them the second you see them. That's probably a little bit more the exception than the rule. But it has to have, first of all, it has to have a signature. It can't be like this, like that. It has to really be its own voice. That's very important. Secondly, it has to be something that we don't necessarily have already. If I already have that from somebody, why do I need it here? It has to also have, sometimes it's that quality that you don't know quite even how to describe it. It's a little like magic, it's like going to a place that you love, a restaurant or a city. You go, I don't know why, but there's just something very unique and authentic about this. So, and then then there's the more kind of nuts and bolt things like what you can call price value. Like you go, could I really spend that for that? Does that make sense to me? So there's a lot of different things, and I want people to know it is by no means myself who just makes this decision. We have an incredibly talented, big team of buyers. We all work together. Fortunately, our tastes are very well lined up, so we kind of speak the same language together. We kind of almost just make little eyes at each other, and we know right away how we're all feeling.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
kind of chemistry. It is.
It is. It's kind of a chemistry that we have, and I think people who work here, after a while, and I know you all, anybody who works in a company, you start to kind of have this kind of similar chemistry you share together.
I know you're not only a fashion icon, fashion diva, like you're the key person in the fashion industry that you contribute so much. And then people also treat you as a respected businesswoman. And then many people that look up to you want to be like you in the future.
Well, thank
so,
you.
like,
Thank
do you have any key point how to become successful like today?
Well, I'll probably say something that we all have heard many, many times. It's really a lot of just working really hard, not being lazy about that. For if you're very lucky, if you find something that you really like, that you love to do, then working for it and giving it your effort is really no effort at all. I think so to kind of follow your talent. If there's one thing you're particularly good at or particularly interested in, follow that. I think there's always something you get by also being kind to people and being nice along the way, and listening to everyone and trying to kind of, I almost feel it's something I think women are particularly good at, because I think that we're very good at like kind of listening to everyone and not just being only concerned about your own role. So there's something, you have to feel like part of something bigger than yourself.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I'm even inspired by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And also there are so many Asian young designers that grow very faster right now, such like Jason Wu and then Alexander Wang. And how do you look at it?
It's really I'm so proud of those designers. It's between Philip Lim and Jason Wu, Alexander Wang, Takun. I mean, the Asian designers are on fire right now. And it's like a meteor. And I mean, Jason Wu, we saw his collection. He was one who was exceptional. We bought his collection right away the first time we saw it on the runway. I'm very proud of them, and they are I mean, these people have a long future. To have this much talent already, as well as good business people. They're not. This is a very interesting thing that's happening now with the young people. They're incredibly balanced between their creativity and their business sensibility. So, long futures for them.
You're looking at there are so many Asian elements that start being added on the runways this year.
Yeah, well, I think Year of the Dragon was very influential. I think a lot of designers, we saw a lot of embroideries. Proenza Schuler had these like I said, like these kind of great dragon embroideries, and we saw kind of some Chamsong necklines, and it was interesting. There was a lot of influence, and I think, I'm happy to say it's that the world, because we're becoming so much more truly global. We've all been using that word for a long time, but I think it's now becoming a real reality. I love this mix of cultures, so it's been interesting.
And how do you looking at the fashion night out? I mean, just tonight.
Yeah.
It's going to be tonight. So what
do you know what? This, I think there's so much positiveness that's come out. I really give Anna Wintour and her team at Vogue so much credit, because when the world we were in a really, really tough place with the recession in the United States, and it kind of needed something to kind of break the log jam and get everybody feeling okay to start spending again. We have to remember we are a consumer culture. The world is a consumer culture now, and if everybody stops spending, it just becomes a vicious cycle. So anyway, she really got everybody excited about coming out and making shopping and fashion look like fun again, instead of just something that was a non-necessity. So now I think over the last few years, I love that it's spread out across nationally, internationally, and I think it's almost made fashion a national or international holiday. It's almost like, if you have your Christmases or you have your Valentine's Day or President's Day, and every nationality has their own national holidays. I think to celebrate fashion as an industry, it's all good.
Within the past 16 years that you work with Bergdorf Goodman, is there any memorable stories that you could share with us?
Well, I did the windows for the store for many, many years, and I maybe did
every time is amazing.
1,500 to 2,000 windows. Now I have a wonderful window director named David Hoey. So I had a lot of incredible times doing the windows, and one time I wanted to create a window that I thought felt like heaven, and so I had borrowed these smoky machines in the windows, and they went crazy, and we couldn't turn them off. And at the same time, so I was in the window, we didn't realize, but the door locked behind us. So we got locked in, and the window was getting thicker and thicker with smoke, and it really looked like heaven, but we almost died in heaven. So that was a little bit, that was a funny memory. But I think my memory that I will never forget is the first time I stayed late. I was just started at Bergdorf's, and as I said, 16 years ago, and it was starting to get dark out, and it was summer, and all the street lamps were starting to come up. And I looked at the building, and I looked up Fifth Avenue, and I was like, I am such a lucky girl. I was like, this is such a beautiful store, and here I am at Fifth Avenue and 58th Street in this exceptional city. And it was just sometimes, you have a little private romantic moment just with yourself, and I was like, this is a lucky moment.
I already feel that.
Yeah, I felt a little like a princess. Yeah. So anyway.
So finally, do you have anything to say to our global Chinese audience?
Well, come to New York. I want to come to your country so badly. Just come here, experience it. There is so much here. New York is an incredibly rich city. We have everything: art, music, theater, fashion. Please come. Thank you. So nice to meet you.